The stars shimmered like scattered jewels against the endless black of space. The colossal Imperial flagship Dominator drifted in silence, its polished silver hull glinting beneath the glow of distant suns. On the command bridge, Admiral Tull stood with his hands clasped behind his back, scaled skin catching the blue radiance of the control displays. "How much longer until we arrive at this Earth?" he asked, the word awkward on his forked tongue. 3 hours, Admiral," replied Commander Mox, fingers gliding across a translucent screen. "Our scout vessels have already entered their system and report negligible defenses." Admiral Tull's narrow yellow eyes tightened. The Emperor had dispatched him on countless first contact campaigns, but this assignment felt beneath him. These humans had only just managed to set foot on their own moon. Their science was crude, their planet fractured by rival powers. They would fall easily to the Empire. "Prepare the intimidation formation," Tull commanded. "Let us show these primitives what true power among the stars looks like." In the Dominator's shadow, 20 warships began to align into flawless alignment, each warship a titan capable of leveling an entire city from orbit. Such shows of dominance had subdued hundreds of species before. Surely, it would intimidate humanity as well. But as the Imperial fleet closed on Earth, sensors detected unexpected movement. The humans had noticed their approach and were scrambling ships of their own. Crude, fragile craft powered by chemical. Fire sputtered into the void. Admiral Tull nearly laughed at the sight of them flickering across the view screen. "Behold those toys," Commander Mox sneered. "Engines of combustion? How have they not destroyed themselves already?" "Careful, Commander," Tull replied, though a faint smile tugged at his scaled lips. "Once, we too were primitives." He turned. "Open communications. Let us see if they can at least form words." The main display shimmered to life, and a human face appeared. General Tom, leader of Earth's Unified Defense Command. His expression was composed, steady. Admiral Tull found himself surprised. Few species ever managed composure when confronted by the Imperial fleet. "Unknown vessels. This is Earth Defense Command," the human said evenly. "You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves and state your intent." Admiral Tull stepped forward, towering to his full 8-foot height. "I am Admiral Tull of the Galactic Empire. Your world has drawn the attention of Emperor Dra, sovereign of 1,000 systems. We extend to you the honor of joining our glorious empire as a protected territory." General Tom's expression remained unshaken. "And if we're not interested in this opportunity?" The question caught Admiral Tull off guard. Most civilizations begged for inclusion after witnessing the Empire's fleet. "Then we would be forced to demonstrate the value of our protection," Tull replied, his tone dropping colder. "Your planet faces many threats among the stars. It would be tragic if your world had to confront them alone." General Tom inclined his head slightly. "I understand. But let me be clear, Admiral. Earth has no interest in becoming anyone's protectorate. We welcome peaceful relations, but we will defend our sovereignty." Commander Mox burst into laughter. "Defend? With those tin cans you call ships?" Admiral Tull lifted a clawed hand to silence him, but the damage was already done. General Tom's gaze hardened. "We may not wield your advanced machines, Admiral, but humanity possesses something your empire appears to lack: respect for others. I advise you to reconsider your methods." The transmission cut without ceremony, leaving Admiral Tull staring at the empty screen. For an instant he felt a flicker of unease. Most species yielded immediately. These humans were either astonishingly brave or recklessly foolish. "They cut the channel!" Commander Mox snarled. "The primitives dare defy the Empire!" "Dispatch a scout ship closer to their orbital stations," ordered Admiral Tull, his voice low. "Let us see how they respond to a true glimpse of our power." A smaller Imperial craft broke from formation, gliding toward the blue planet where satellites and crude stations spun. Sensors soon spiked with new readings. "Admiral," the officer at the console called out, "the humans are launching something. Small vessel, primitive design, yet it's moving faster than expected." On the main screen, a squat, boxy human craft closed in on the Imperial scout. Barely a tenth of its size, it looked patched together from spare metal. "Are they actually trying to engage us?" Commander Mox scoffed. But Admiral Tull was not laughing. Instinct clawed at him. "Maintain distance. Keep... Too late. The..." Human ship surged forward with startling agility, latched onto the scout's hull, and clamped tight. "What are they doing?" Tull demanded. A blinding flash tore across the display. When the glare faded, the Imperial scout drifted powerless, its systems dark. The human craft disengaged and sped back toward Earth. "Impossible!" Mox roared. "They disabled an Imperial ship!" "Report!" Tull barked. The science officer hesitated. "Electromagnetic pulse strike, Admiral. Crude, but perfectly executed. Our scout is rebooting now." A chill crawled through Tull's chest. Never in all the Empire's conquests had a fledgling species crippled their ships on first contact. "Admiral," the comms officer said carefully, "incoming transmission from Earth." General Tom appeared once again, calm as before. "That was a warning, Admiral. We prefer peace, but we are prepared for the alternative. You have 24 hours to leave our system." The image vanished. Tull stood frozen. These humans were different, defiant, fearless, and successful. "Recall. The fleet," he ordered at last, voice tight. "The Emperor must hear of this. These humans are not what we expected." As the armada pulled back, Admiral Tull's eyes lingered on the blue marble below. For the first time in his storied career, doubt crept in. "This isn't finished," he muttered. "The Empire does not forgive resistance. We'll return, humans, and next time, we won't underestimate you." But he did not realize the Empire's true nightmare had only just begun. 3 months later, the shame of first contact still clung to him. In the Grand Council chambers, Admiral Tull stood before Emperor Dra, recounting the incident for what felt like the 100th time. "And you are certain their technology is primitive?" Dra's voice rumbled, his colossal form shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with irritation. "Yes, Emperor," Tull answered grimly. "They still rely on combustion, engines and chemical rockets. Their disabling of our scout ship was likely a lucky strike." Admiral Tull replied, trying to sound confident despite his doubt. Emperor Drax's eyes narrowed. "Then we shall send a proper greeting force. Show these humans what it means to defy the Empire." Before Admiral Tull could respond, a junior officer burst into the chambers, breaking all protocol. "Forgive me, Emperor," he gasped, dropping to his knees. "Long-range sensors have detected something entering our controlled space in Sector 7. "What is it?" demanded the Emperor. "It appears to be a human ship, sir." A wave of laughter rippled through the council chamber. One small human ship was hardly a threat. "And this required interrupting our council?" Emperor Dra asked coldly. The officer trembled. "Sir, the ship is massive, nearly the size of our largest battle cruiser, and the energy reading, they're off the charts." The laughter died instantly. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Tull. "They were just figuring out how to reach their own moon." Emperor Dra rose from his throne. Captain Van, a tall, slender figure, stepped forward from the shadows. Captain Ven was known throughout the Empire as their best strategist, with metallic implants covering half his face, enhancing his already impressive mental abilities. "Take your battle group to intercept this human vessel. Determine if it truly is from Earth, and if so, how they've advanced so quickly." Captain Van bowed low. "As you command, Emperor." The Imperial battle group dropped out of faster-than-light travel, near the edge of Sector 7. 5 sleek warships arranged themselves in attack formation, their weapon systems powered and ready. On the bridge of the lead ship, invincible Captain Ven studied the view screen with his organic eye, while his mechanical one processed data at incredible speeds. "There it is," his second-in-command said, quietly, pointing to a blip on the sensor display. Captain Ven zoomed in on the object. What he saw made his breath catch. The ship was unlike anything in the Imperial database. It was massive, nearly as large as their largest battlecruiser, but with a completely different design philosophy. Where Imperial ships were sleek and elegant, this vessel was blocky and overbuilt with thick armor plating and what appeared to be multiple redundant systems. "That can't be a human warship," Captain Ven said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Is that possible, sir?" "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. "On screen," ordered Captain Ven, straightening his uniform. The view screen flickered, and a human face appeared. He wore a simple dark uniform with minimal decorations. "This is Captain Jack of the Earth vessel Defiance. We come in peace and request diplomatic talks with the Galactic Empire." Captain Ven studied the human carefully. "This is Captain Ven of the Imperial Defense Fleet. Your ship's capabilities exceed our intelligence reports on human technology. Explain yourselves." Captain Jack smiled slightly. "Captain, we've been watching the stars for centuries. Did you really think we would announce all our capabilities to the first aliens who arrived? You're claiming this level of advancement was hidden when we first contacted Earth?" Captain Ven asked.
Incredulously. "Not hidden, just not displayed. Your Admiral tool didn't exactly make a good first impression." Captain Ven's tactical mind raced. If the humans had deceived them about their technology, what else had they hidden? "Sir," his science officer whispered urgently. "Our scans show their power source is some form of controlled fusion, but it's using principles our scientists believed were theoreticalimables to stabilize." Captain Ven kept his face neutral. "Captain Jack, the Emperor has authorized me to conduct preliminary negotiations. Would you be willing to come aboard my vessel?" "I'd be delighted," replied Captain Jack, "but I must insist on bringing a small security detail for diplomatic purposes. Of course, we'll prepare a shuttle bay for your arrival." As the communication ended, Captain Ven turned to his crew. "Full analysis of that ship. I want to know everything about it before they arrive and alert Emperor immediately." An hour later, Captain Jack stood in the grand meeting room of the Invincible, accompanied by 3 human officers. They showed no signs of being impressed by the Imperial technology surrounding them. "Your ship is quite remarkable," Captain Vano began gesturing for the humans to sit. "Our scientists are particularly interested in your power source." Captain Jack nodded. "Simple fusion, really. We've been working on it for centuries, but the containment field you're using shouldn't be possible," said the Imperial science officer. "The energy required to maintain such stability would exceed the output." One of the human officers, a woman with short gray hair, smiled. "That would be true if you approached the problem from an energy containment perspective. We approached it from a material science angle instead." "Material science," repeated Captain Ven, confused. "While you were developing energy fields to contain plasma, we were developing materials that could physically hold it," Captain Jack explained. "Different path, same destination." Captain Ven felt a chill run down his spine. The Empire had always focused on energy manipulation, considering physical materials to be a primitive approach. Had they been wrong all this time? "And your weapon systems?" he asked carefully. "We prefer not to discuss those unless necessary," replied Captain Jack. "We're here to talk peace, not war." Captain Vivian nodded slowly. "Of course, however, you must understand our concern. 3 months ago, you were barely able to reach your own moon. Now you arrive in a warship rivaling our best vessels. As I said, Captain, we've been watching the stars for a long time. We knew we weren't alone, so we prepared. When your Admiral Tool arrived making threats, we simply accelerated our timeline. Before Captain Vang could respond, his communication device buzzed. "Excuse me," he said, stepping away to take the message. "Sir," came the urgent voice of his sensor officer. "We've detected energy signatures from the human vessel. They've activated some sort of weapon system." Captain Van glanced back at the humans who were calmly waiting, showing no signs of hostility. "Are they targeting us?" he whispered. "No, sir. But the energy output is off the charts. Whatever they're powering up could potentially disable our entire battle group." Captain Van returned to the table, his face carefully composed. "Captain Jack, our sensors indicate your ship has activated weapon systems. Care to explain?" Captain Jack's expression didn't change. "Just a precaution, Captain. Your Emperor has dispatched another fleet to our location. They'll arrive within the hour. We wanted to be prepared just in case diplomacy fails." Captain Van felt his heart racing. How had the humans detected the reinforcements? Even more concerning, how had they built such advanced sensor technology? "I assure you, there's no need for weapons," Captain Van said, trying to keep his voice steady. "The Emperor merely wishes to ensure these talks proceed smoothly." "Of course," said Captain Jack with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Then we'll continue our discussion. Now about establishing formal diplomatic relations between Earth and your empire." As the talks proceeded, Captain Van couldn't shake the feeling that everything the Empire thought they knew about humans was wrong. And that realization terrified him more than any weapon ever could. The Grand Imperial Council chamber fell silent as Captain Vang finished his report about the human vessel. Defiance. Even Emperor Dra seemed shaken, his luminescent patterns pulsing erratically across his massive form. "You mean to tell me," the Emperor said slowly, "that these humans have achieved controlled fusion using material containment rather than energy fields?" Captain Vivian nodded, his cybernetic eye whirring as it projected data onto the large screen behind him. "Yes, Emperor, and that's just the beginning. Their approach to technology is fundamentally different from ours." Admiral Tull stepped forward, his scales now a pale yellow from stress. "Different how?" "Weru pursue elegant solutions with minimal components. They build redundant, over-engineered systems," Captain Van explained. "Where we refine and perfect, they iterate and improvise. Most importantly, they've developed along technological paths we abandoned centuries ago, seeing them as inefficient." The council chamber erupted in murmurs. The Empire had always prided itself on elegant technological solutions, systems that worked with perfect efficiency and minimal waste. The idea that a species would deliberately choose a different path seemed almost offensive. Emperor Dre raised a hand for silence. "Bring in the human delegates. I wish to hear this from them directly." Minutes later, Captain Jack and his team were escorted into the chamber. They showed no signs of intimidation despite being surrounded by the Empire's most powerful leaders. "Captain Jack of Earth," Emperor Dra's voice boomed across the chamber. "Your ship has caused quite a stir among my advisors. We find ourselves curious about human technology." Captain Jack bowed slightly. "We are happy to explain, Emperor. Though I should warn you that I'm a soldier, not a scientist. Dr. Anna here would be better suited to answer technical questions." The woman with gray hair stepped forward. "Perhaps I can clarify some misconceptions. When we detected your scout ships approaching our solar system months ago, we realized we needed to accelerate our plans. You knew we were coming?" Admiral Tool asked, surprised. Dr. Anna smiled. "We've been watching the stars for centuries. Ortloscopes detected your ships long before you entered our system." "Impossible," snorted the Imperial Science Advisor. "Your technology couldn't possibly." Actually, Dr. Anna interrupted apologetically. While our space travel technology was indeed limited, our observational equipment is quite advanced. We've been studying the universe from our planet's surface for hundreds of years. She tapped a smell device on her wrist, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed what appeared to be the internal workings of the Defiance. The fundamental difference in our approach is this, she explained. Your Empire builds ships like fine jewelry, precise, elegant, minimal. We build ships like fortresses, redundant, robust, over-engineered. The hologram zoomed in the ship's power core. Take our fusion reactor. You contain plasma with energy fields, which is elegant but vulnerable to power fluctuations. We contain it with layers of specially developed materials that can physically withstand the heat and pressure. But that's so inefficient, protested the science advisor. Inefficient but reliable, countered Dr. Anna. If your energy field fails, your reactor fails. If one of our containment layers fails, we have 5 more backups. Emperor Dra leaned forward on his throne, genuinely intrigued. And this philosophy extends to all your systems. Yes, said Captain Jack, stepping forward again. Our ships don't have a single computer core. They have dozens of smaller ones that can take over if others fail. We don't have one power distribution system. We have 6 separate grids. It's not elegant, but it's hard to kill. The hologram shifted to show the ship's weapon systems, and the Imperial Council grew noticeably tense. As for our weapons, Captain Jack continued, we focused on kinetic energy. Rather than energy beams, simple physics. Mass times acceleration. We fire small projectiles at nearly the speed of light. Primitive ballistic weapons, scoffed Commander Mox, who had been silent until now. Primitive concept advanced execution, corrected Captain Jack. Each projectile masses only a few grams, but at near light speed, it carries enough energy to disable a ship of your size. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Such weapons will bypass the Empire's sophisticated energy shields, which were designed to deflect energy weapons, not physical objects. Why reveal all this to us? Emperor Dra finally asked, surely this gives away your tactical advantages. Captain Jack's expression grew serious. Because we want peace, not war. Earth has no interest in conquest. We built the Defiance as a deterrent, not an invasion force. Dr. Anna added, we've been watching your empire expand for decades. We saw how you absorbed other species, sometimes peacefully, sometimes not. We decided it would be better to negotiate from a position of strength. Emperor Dra's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rapidly, a sign of deep thought among his species. And if we declined peaceful relations, if we decided your technology posed a threat to the Empire. Captain Jack's voice remained calm, both his eyes hardened. The Defiance isn't our only ship, Emperor. It's just the first one we decided to reveal. The implications hung in the air like a physical weight. If humans had been hiding this level of technological advancement, what else were they concealing? Admiral Toole's face showed shock. You're bluffing. Our scans detected no other ships of this capability in your system. Because there no